This is the Effing Business Podcast. You ask the questions, we answer. Podcast, really excited today. We have my good friend Rafi here. Rafi works for Bulldog Marketing. He is a new business developer, but for a long time, Rafi had in a different venture, did a lot of traveling for business.
Why don't we have Rafi tell us about that?
So what we want to talk about today is all our do's and don'ts about business travel. Hit it.
Well,
Do's. Go.
Well, let's before you get there, let's talk about what you were doing while you were traveling, so on and so forth, for business.
well, obviously before I had so much fun working with you guys, I was working in the hospitality industry for about 10 years, doing brand development for a company that worked with hotels, doing just branded products. And I had a job of like going to find new clients and reaching out to people all across the state of Florida, from Orlando to Key West and the West Coast.
That was your region, like basically Orlando South.
Well, even northern Florida, I went a couple of times up to the Panhandle. We worked with a couple of hotels in the Panhandle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which was really fun, exciting. Yeah.
Right. And
Did you travel and get to stay at the hotels you were like selling to? Did you ever do that?
Absolutely, I love that.
Really?
Yeah, it's so fun.
Is it awkward or is it fun?
Oh, it's so fun.
You're staying in the hotel, the manager you have to then sell to.
Well, you're selling, but you also want to go and create relationships. So obviously, the more times you go out there and you're seeing new properties and you're seeing the way people run different hotels. Every property is run differently. There could be a 10-room hotel. It could be like 200-room hotels, and some hotels are run by owners that are really hands-on, and some managers that are on the sidelines. So it's really
different
fun.
dynamic every time.
Every single time, it's a new way.
So talking about the travel, I mean, you traveled a lot. We've traveled a lot for things. I think all of us actually have done a lot more like driving, like tripping. So it's not flying around the country and things like that. I have some do's. I don't like driving in the morning. I'd rather drive all night. So I'm not a morning person. But when it comes to driving, because then I almost crash and die and I can't wake up fast enough. So I think also the biggest thing that I found that works and makes the day go by faster, which then makes the whole day, better overall, is having a busy schedule with short timelines, right? So cutting it close every time. Like I need 40 minutes. I'm out in this certain amount of time. And next to the 40-minute drive time, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. And then getting home, you're like, wow, I had a really productive day. Really banged them all out in a short amount of time. You feel really good about it. When they're dragged out and then you're sort of in a city you don't live in, you're waiting 2 hours because that was when the person was available, and you're sort of like, yeah, you can go to Starbucks and work, you can hang out. I always find that always difficult. That it made the day obviously longer because I'm there longer, but it made it just like feel so much longer than the 2-hour gap I had between one appointment or so on. I always find myself like I can't really go to the next one and try to move up this one or so on and so forth. So like it always left me in that weird stage,
Right.
And I find that like having that busy schedule made my day always go by a lot easier than not.
Well, sometimes when you're fitting a lot of things into one day, there's a lot of coordinating. When my old partner used to come down, he would be talking and talking. We get down to business in our meetings with people and talking. Sometimes if you have to meet 10 people in a day, I would try to find that line between like getting business done and also like we got to move on to the next meeting,
right?
Or I'm going to tell them we're going to be late, which is fine, as long as everyone knows what's going on.
Right. I think every person understands like appointment wise, like if you're running 10-15 minutes, but say, hey, I need to reschedule, obviously it's not a great idea, especially if you're trying to sell someone.
That's right.
But I think hey, I'm running 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. I'd rather be faster in the appointment because I know specifically what we do, and during these appointments, I can control that time frame, right? I can either make this go really fast or really I can compress this time. So it's not a sales job where it comes to you got to talk about products, and your side it was a little bit more of a meeting, and the conversation can go much deeper and much longer. You don't really know until you sit down with them.
Right.
In our field, we sort of can control that time from of how long you're in that house. You know,
To some degree, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like obviously, if you're in a huge, commercial loss, that you can't be there 10 minutes, but you can give the person the due time at a house. The majority of our business, a house, you give a person due time and it takes you an hour, or you can give a person a little bit less time but still feel they were taken care of and do it in 45 minutes
Right.
and do it in 30 minutes.
I think the best part of business traveling is when you can package it into pleasure. So like I mean I haven't done this in a long time, and I want to start doing this more often as our business needs it. When I first got married, we didn't have any kids. My wife and I went up to see a loss on Friday, and then we used, it was in the Treasure Coast, so it's like a 2+ hour drive. And then we turned that into a weekend up there that we spent together. So I think when you're single or you don't have children, I think that's easier to do. But we've done some conferences. We're going to a conference coming up shortly. I think when you can go to a cool place, a place you haven't been, see new things, that kind of stuff, and then also turn that into a weekend for yourself. I think that's the best part of like business travel.
Yeah, I mean that.
Go to restaurants, go to places.
Yeah, mixing the business and pleasure and
Correct.
way more enjoyable. You don't feel like you're there
We went.
just for something and like you want to get in, do it.
You
And
dread the whole trip.
that's
right.
right.
Like, I'm just
especially
here.
if it's a far drive or a
Right.
long flight.
I get in my Uber, I go to my hotel, I get ready for my meeting, I go back out, I go to my meeting, I go back to my hotel, I sleep, I wake up, I go the next morning, and I go to the airport and I leave. Right? Like you get the job done, you do your thing and whatnot, but there's no pleasure in it, right? There's just like
We went to LA a couple of months ago for work. I hadn't been to LA, right? And we had a lot of driving. We had to go shoot on different locations all throughout the city. So that was an opportunity for me to see Los Angeles.
Of course, it's so
while
great.
we're there.
went to a Lakers game.
Went to a Lakers game. That's true.
No, not we, you.
I went to a Lakers game. Yeah, I did.
Just all of us hanging.
So you made a good experience out of it.
Correct. So I think that when you can go somewhere, sometimes it's an in and out trip. We've done 1,000,000 one-day trips to New York. Most of them weren't for work, but they're just in and out. You don't get to experience anything. But when you can go somewhere and you have the opportunity to experience it, when you have the opportunity to see the sights or to eat at the restaurants or the things that exist that's unique to that place, I think that helps get over the like, oh, I gotta travel for work.
All right, so you give me the do's. I got that, and you think you gave me some do's as well. What about don'ts?
Oh boy, don't fly coach.
Don't fly coach.
If you could avoid it. We've flown coach
You
way
fly
more than
coach,
any other.
Sit in the front 2 rows.
Correct. That's a do though.
Right.
Don't show up hungover.
Don't what? Don't drive hungover?
Don't show up hungover.
Okay.
That's a don't?
I think
Don't.
Bad
that's an
habits.
obvious.
Yeah.
Unless,
Isn't that sort of obvious?
no, it's not
when you're
obvious.
hungover.
Because if you drink with the person who you're meeting tomorrow, then it's okay.
Because you're both hungover.
That's right.
Gotcha. That's a good one. I like that one.
You're welcome.
My don'ts. Don't use any regular public bathroom. I know it sounds whatnot, but
This is for real.
hitting Starbucks.
But that's a life lesson, no?
Yes.
Lesson. Starbucks consistently has the best bathroom.
Always the cleanest.
Always the cleanest. Most room. You don't feel you're cramped. It's private. Hands down the best. If you're in Florida, Publix is a close second. Kroger and
Or second.
There's a statute right now. They're
So-
trying to.
That's my don'ts for the do's.
I was saying they're trying to push the statute to how do you say criminalize one-ply toilet paper. Should be only 2-ply.
No, that can't be real.
Yeah, I just made it up.
Oh, okay.
These are do's and don'ts, not like do's, don'ts, and lies.
Don't ever buy one-ply toilet paper.
I saw Charmin selling 1 month supply rolls. I'm not joking.
This
It's like a really big rule.
Yeah, so let's just move off that one.
don't
You have any
travel.
other do's and don'ts? think we're
Definitely
good on that
bring
podcast.
extra
Passports.
Extra undies, no matter what.
undies. Yeah, it's the like smallest thing you can put in your bag. You might as well just throw an extra.
What if you know you're gonna be back that day? Like you're having a day trip, drive out to Orlando and back. Extra undies.
Yeah, just in case.
I would say yeah, just
You guys have like really, 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 really low hopes. Like I never.
I think we should end this podcast now before it becomes more revealing, okay? And that bites you,
But like I didn't go into it thinking I should bring undies.
give me some do's and don'ts. I'm telling you do's and don'ts.
So cut.